Hey everybody, it's Brooke. I hope you're having a great day. It's always a good day to play in your craft room. I've been working on making this creative daily junk art glue book journal. Hey, that's a mouthful. This is the one we started live the other night, and I decided to come back and work on it. I'm not using it as my own daily journal because I am very fickle. So I wanted to finish it up and get it into the shop. I was spoken to about pre-selling journals, so I will not pre-sell this one. When it's done, I'll let you guys know and I guess tell you when it's going to be up in the shop. Cool. All right, so I thought today we could play with fabrics. So we made the spine. We took out the spine of the roll book, and this is the spine that we removed, which is gorgeous, and it is going to end up back on the spine. But we took it off and we extended the spine, did some painting on it, reinforced it. I did put a layer of clear gesso over the whole cover, actually several layers, so it's nice and sealed because I really don't want to put corners or anything on. I love how the roughness looks, but I went ahead and gessoed it so that it's sealed and it's not shiny at all. It's got kind of a dull finish on it, which I really love. I think it just makes roll book stand out more, and it just looks old and loved, and I like it that way. So that's where we are. This is the inside, exactly where we left it. So I thought the first thing we would do is go ahead and I cut a piece of this vintage muslin. I think it was part of a pillowcase, but I thought we would stamp on it and glue it to the inside, and then just to cover up our mechanics here, and another layer of reinforcement where we built the spine. And then this is going to be the lace that wraps around. This is that black lace, and it's going to wrap all the way around. I won't do that until later because I do like to bind the book in before I put the final piece of fabric over the spine, but that's where we're headed. So let's start out with that. Move this to the side and get out my stampy gluey book, which is just a mess, but it'll do. Isn't that pretty? It was a book. Oh, it was a nature book, but I got out just about everything I wanted. And although he's cute, right? Anyway, I've been using it. It's a great size to use for gluing and stamping on. When you're rubber stamping, you want a little bit of a cushion. You don't want to stamp right on your mat. That's a hard surface. And I forget all the time and go ahead and do it, and you don't get a very good impression. So there you go. So first of all, I guess we should see how long to make this piece. I just whacked off a piece. Excuse me. And I want it to be just the length of our cover. So it looks like right about there. Cannot find my sewing scissors yet. I know they're somewhere. Well, everything is somewhere. This is a great piece to keep, to make a little tab or something. So I'm just throwing it in my bit bucket. Let's double check this. I was able to iron it because I found the ironing board. Woo! We're making progress, peeps. Excellent. Love it, love it, love it. It's a little off up there. I don't care. It's going to get covered with the lace anyway. But I love how it looks with the insides of the cover, and I'm going to leave those just the way they are. So that is just the right size. Let's do some stamping on it. I think, do we want brown or black? I wish you were here to answer me. I'm going to have to pretend to hear you. I'm trying to unbury my ink pads. Normally I would go for brown, but because our lace is black, I'm toying with that. Got my VersaFine out. And I've got brown and black, vintage sepia and onyx black. All right, I think we're going to go black because of the black lace. Yep. So this is the first stamp collection that I pulled out of my drawer. Of course, it's Tim Holtz because, well, I'm a Tim Holtzy kind of girl. This stamp is a definition of curiosity. The stamp set is called Visual Artistry. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Yep. So I believe I got this from Callie Scrapper Barb in one of her D-stashes, and I love it. I use it all the time. So let's just start out with this, and I'm not going to use a block. I really want it to be kind of skippy and incomplete, just to add a little bit of texture. And again, it is going to be covered up by the black lace, so it doesn't have to be perfect at all, just to make it interesting. Oh, and look, a thummy print. Yay. Oh, Brooke. Some right there, and maybe some, oops, going this way. Stamping it off the fabric, doing some second generation and even third generation stamping. So you get that cool sort of faded out look. I'm loving it. I kind of want to cut up some more of this fabric and just stamp it to half. A little bit up there, a little bit there. So after you've stamped it a few times, you can't even really tell what the stamp is, but you get the texture and the interest. And what else is in this? Ooh, there's a ticket. Let's stamp a ticket. I like it already. Muslin, I know I've said it a million times. You can never have enough just plain or coffee dyed or old muslin hanging around. It's very handy. Do one down there, and I'm not worried about getting it completely covered. Just enough to make it interesting, and I can feel I just dipped my thumb in there. Yep. I grab the baby wipe. Maybe I should have used a block. Oh well, too late now. Living on the edge, that's me. Oops, we just got 1,000 baby wipes out. Just stuff them back in there. Get back in there. All right. So, wipe that excess off. See if I can pick this up without jamming my thumb into it. Maybe yes, maybe no. Nope, index finger this time. I'm a mess. And I like it that way. And maybe we'll just stick one little corner over there. All right, I like it. I like it, I like it. So I'll just stamp off my stamps. If I were smart, I would have done that on a piece of paper and kept it, but, you know. No claims to brilliance over here. Go ahead and put these back so I don't lose them. I will link Barb down in the description. She does all kinds of different sales, and she has great stuff at really good prices. Down below, or through the magic of television up there. Callie Scrapper. That would be Barbara. Okay. And if I forget, will someone remind me? Because you know how I am. You know how I am. All right. We really don't want that excess ink going everywhere now, so make sure it's all off. All right. Move this. And I think this is just going to look fabulous. And again, it gives us another layer of reinforcement where we built our spine in. Ooh, and look at that. That's just going to look awesome. So I'm going to put this one down, and then it'll have the lace over it, so it'll just peek through a little bit. Ooh, look at that. It looks fancy. That's going to be beautiful. So let's get out some Fabri-Tac. Is this crooked? You know me and crooked. We're best friends. Looks crooked on the camera, but not in front of me. Oh, I wonder if I whacked the camera with my head and knocked it a little askew. That wouldn't be very surprising, would it? And I'm going to glue roughly where I think the fabric's going to fall, making sure to get all the way down to the very bottom, because that's going to take, you know, the bottom and the top take a little more abuse. And then just a little bit, and I'm going to go right down the middle, go around the edge a little bit, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm leaving the places where we're going to stitch through unglued. If you get glue there, it's not a big deal. Just makes it a little easier to put your signature in later. And that was a big blob. So let's go ahead and layer down. Sorry if my big noggin gets in the way. Looking for straightness. Ish. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. And then I'm just gonna smooth out any wrinkles. Get that tucked in there. Let me get my credit card scraper. And I'm sure you've all done this a million times, but I always like to see how people finish their journals, you know, finish as in the spine and all that good stuff. Always curious to see how somebody else does it. Get that pressed in there. I guess our ink wasn't all the way dry. There's a little bit of smearage, but it'll be just fine because of that lace going on top. And it just makes it look a little older and cooler. Okay, we could use another bead. I didn't get it quite far enough over. And with Fabri-Tac, as long as you get a thin line and not big blobs, it really shouldn't soak through the fabric. So if you need to, if it's too much, just go through with your finger and spread it out a little bit. That worked out well though. I didn't get any big blobs, so it shouldn't soak through. There we go. I'm going to turn this way, make sure you can still see, and then glue this side. Oop, didn't put the lid on. Could have had all kinds of volcanoes. And I'm being generous with the glue. I don't want it to go anywhere. I want that fabric to be there good and tight. Oop, strings. Better put the lid on this time. Okay, we'll go ahead and just sort of pushing from the spine fold right here and pushing out. So there's some fabric to give when the book is opening and closing. Oh, I really like this just by itself actually, but once the lace goes on it, that's going to look even cooler. So go through and get that pushed in. Awesome. So we've got that fabric covering again, make the spine join even stronger. And I'm just going to let this, I'm going to set it aside and let it dry for a bit, but that's going to be perfect when we fold it up. And again, the black lace that we picked out last time is just going to go all the way around to the back and cover up that fabric as well. But I want to do the, I want to bind the signatures in first. Yeah, there we go. Use your words, Brooke. So I'll fold this up and put it with our journal. I'm just going to let this lay open to dry while we play around with some other. As long as we have the fabric out, let's play with some more fabric. So these are the 2 signatures that I made, and this book will only have 2 signatures. Each one has 8 pages, which turns into 32 writing surfaces. So if you do want to use it for your creative daily journal, it will be 2 months worth. If you want to use it for some other kind of journal, then you'll have 64 pages to play with. And they're kind of delicious. A lot of vintage paper in here, no digitals, some Tim Holtz, but this is original. We've got ledger paper, and this is just some coffee dyed scrapbook paper. I went ahead and scoot this over. I sewed in some lace. I sewed this little pocket closed and stitched on this 3D butterfly. This is scrapbook paper, another vintage ledger, a vintage cookbook cover that's just this nice textured cardstock, Tim Holtz vellum, coffee dyed paper. This one has a fold out. This will be the center of the signature. I don't know why I'm flipping through this now, because when I'm making a journal, I flip through it compulsively, so you'll probably be sick of it by the time I'm done. This is the other side of the signature. I reinforced the ledger. It is, this is an old ledger. It was, is it written in here? I want to say it was the early 1900s. So I did reinforce the spine with some washi tape. It's in great shape, but just to be on the safe side. That's that Tim Holtz paper. And then the second signature also begins with Tim Holtz paper. This is some modern accounting paper, a glassine bag, craft colored, and I just glued, I decoupaged a piece of tissue paper on there, also Tim Holtz, feeling kind of Tim Holtzy. That's the other side of the bag, and I, again, reinforced with washi tape. 1929 was the ledger. I thought that was someplace around around then. Coffee Dyed Vintage Dictionary. And you guys, I don't go through the dictionary pages to make sure there's nothing offensive. Far be it from me to judge what anyone finds offensive. So if there's a word in there that you don't like, if you get this journal, cover it up with a piece of paper, scratch it out with a Sharpie, whatever works for you. And this is this really cool painting book that I bought from a live sale, and I believe that was Tammy. I know it was. My World in OKC, and I will link her shop down below. Fabulous stuff. And this was a drawing book that someone like hand drew and typed, and it must have been like photocopied for a class or something. But it's got all these cool pictures, and it's giant. So that made me happy. And of course I left the little tabs where it comes out of the book, because you know I love those. You can't really see because it's flashed out, but this is a big piece of Braille. Just Braille paper, no idea what it says, but it's cool and textured. And another piece of coffee dyed paper. So that's where we are. I didn't do a whole ton in this, and I think that we should go through... Oh, I did do this. I forgot about this. I lied. This is the other side of that glassine bag. Let me take it out so you can see it. So what I did was, this is from a photo album, like a vintage photo album where you stick your photos in the sides, and I just made a hinge with the glassine bag and sewed the a little strip of the ledger paper, the edge of the photo album, and this piece of trim down over to attach it to make it the other side of the page. And then you can slip your photos or whatever you want to in there. And I think that was the only other sewing or changing I did. Yep. So that is that. So it needs some fabric and some lace and some trims, wouldn't you say? I pulled out a handful of some of my favorite trims. Some are vintage, some are not. This is one of the, I used a ledger, an old ledger that I had scraps of, and just folded it, you know, I accordion pleated it as I was sewing, and just kept feeding one page after another. And I think that came from Treasure Books, I want to say, but I know I've seen a bunch of people doing it. And then I just ran another piece down the center. Some of it's fabric, some of it's lace, some of it's paper, just whatever I grabbed out of my trim bucket, and just kept feeding it in. And so I have this super long, cool thing I can use to edge pages or whatever, whenever I want it. And I love it. And I don't have that much left, so we'll have to make some more. So let's see. I usually like to put about three kinds of edging in each signature. So we'll start with the first signature. And all my pages are different widths, which I really like. There's some different heights. I also really like that. So that's just something to be aware of. When, you know, if that would look great right there, but it won't show on the outside of the journal, obviously. So I don't think we'll do that. I think I would like something on this ledger. So let's just pull out some stuff. I got all kinds of stuff here. I like this a lot. Ooh, I like that a lot. Look at that on the first try. Let's do that. Let us put that there. And I'll go through with my glue and tack it down, and then go back and do all the sewing at once, is how I roll. So we'll just put this right in our gluey book. And I'll grab the Fabri-Tac and try not to squeeze it too hard. I could take the signatures apart, but honestly, I try to do that as few times as possible, because at this point, I have the pages how I want them. And frankly, the more often I take it apart, the less likely it is they'll stay in that order. Because I'm a goof. I'm sure there are more efficient ways to make a journal. Yeah, I don't really go for efficiency, I go for fun. Oh, I love that on there. I like how it's such a utilitarian sort of ledger page, and then this kind of frilly flower trim. I like it. I like it. So we'll just trim off the bottom. So there is trim number 1. Let's keep going. I'm going to keep tucking those pages in so I can see where things will stick out some. We do have this little bit of lace that I put on here, but that won't show when the book is closed. Where else do we have stuff sticking out? The vellum will be sticking out. We could put something on the edge of the vellum. Ooh, or on here. I like the vellum the way it is. I almost don't want to mess with it. What do I have over here? Ooh, this is not vintage. This is Hobby Lobby, but I like, or maybe it's Joann's, but I think it's beautiful. And generally, I will put in white and beige and, ooh, yeah, and sometimes colored lace. I just kind of mix it up. You know, I'm not all that matchy-matchy. Not really. Just whatever turns me on at the moment. Okay, get our glue book back out. You guys see? There we go. I think I'm getting the hang of where the camera is. Hot dog. Okay. Just a little bead. Whoop. Fabri-Tac is getting a little less runny. Still better than that one I had before. I tried acetone in it, forget it. That Fabri-Tac went in the garbage. I don't think it liked its long trip around the country. I can't really tell if there's a right or a wrong side on this, so we're going to say that this is the right side. Oh, and look at that, I cut it just about right. I do not mind if a little bit hangs off the top and the bottom. I like the fluffiness. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and make sure I got it even-ish. Nope, scoot it over a little bit. There we go. Works for me. Oh, and I like it. Yes, I do. Okay, so you can just barely see it peeking out behind the vellum. Perfect. Now let's go towards the back. I always feel like the back gets neglected. So let's start from the back. And it looks like really the only page that's poking out would either be the ledger page or the Tim Holtz page. We already did one on the ledger page, so let's do one on the back page. For no reason, except because. Ooh, we could do this one. What do we think? Have it stick out a little further? No, maybe not. Maybe we'll use this as a belly band, because if it sticks out too far, as the journal is tied or bound, closed, and opened and used, the paper is going to get shredded up. So let's use fabric, and we'll use this for a belly band. Somewheres. Do I have something fatter in this pile? Can you guys see my pile? I'm scooting it over. I do have some pretty white eyelet, which is kind of fun with the industrial look. You know, that scratchy Tim Holtz. Oh, I like it. The Tim Holtzy grunginess and this white pristine eyelet. Yep, that's what we're doing. Look at me making decisions. Snap, snap. Get the glue book out. Thin bead. Enough to hold it, but again, I am going to sew. I'm gonna. Fabulous. I am going to sew over it as well. This is really just to hold it in place, so I'm trying to be very gentle on my Fabri-Tac squeezing. My gosh, look at my arms. Moving, dangerous business. Scratches and bruises, and I don't even know where most of them came from. All right. So, go ahead and the eyelet I hold in place a little bit longer because it wants to curl at the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold it down a little bit. Make it act right. Oh, I love those two together. I don't know if you can see on camera, but there are some white scratches in the paper, and it just looks super cool with the eyelet. Plus, I like having fluffy stuff hanging out of the side of my journal. See if we got it straight-ish. Oops. Yep, glued it to the glue book. Yay me. Scoot it down just a little bit. Looks good. Looking good. Okay. So we'll trim this one off. Nice and straight. I like that. Oop, time for a sip of coffee. Yay. Trim this one off. I might leave that little angle up there. I kind of like how that looks. If I decide I don't like it later, I can just snip it right off. So let's check this out. Ooh, you guys, look. Oh, yum. Love the different textures. All right, so there's signature 1. Let us check out signature 2. Let's make sure we have signature 2 right side up. I do also obsessively check for that when I'm binding and when I'm putting things together, because, well, I may or may not have at some point put things in upside down. And it's not the end of the world, it's just annoying. So, what do we have? We do have this bag. What else do we have? I'm thinking, I thought I pulled out tons of trim, but I just don't feel like I did. Do we want to go Tim Holtz fabric on this? Do we want to go all Tim Holtz fabric? I have these beautiful strips that I'm still using. My darling Susan and Betty sent me a jelly roll from Tuesday morning that was just these strips of Tim Holtz fabric, and I love it. Oh, yeah. What about that? What if we do that? All right, I'm going to tack some down because I do like that a lot. I'm just going to tack a little bit of it down to get me going and to remind me what I wanted to do. Because, you know, when I go to the sewing machine in 15 minutes, no idea. Nope. So we'll just give it a little start. And I do try to keep in mind with fabric ruffles, it takes a lot more fabric than I ever think it's going to. So this is a really good long piece. And that will work out beautifully. And I want it to stick off the page quite a bit. Oopsie. I laid it all down. Oh no. Oh, Brooke. Why must you be this way? That's all right. It will all work out. And again, if it really doesn't, cover it up, cut it off. I mean, if this turned into something I couldn't even stand, I could just trim the paper right here, and it would just be a narrower page. I do try to remind people that, and myself, that there's almost nothing that you can't come back from when you're making a journal. And in the rare case that it is something you really can't come back from, throw it away. It's paper. It's a little bit of fabric. It's really not worth stressing yourself out. So that would be my advice of the day. Should I go ahead and glue the rest? Might make it easier to sew, huh? Oh, I have such an itchy nose. I think I will. Let's not put down too much Fabri-Tac, though. And I'm not doing a real tight ruffle. You know, I'm sort of... And I, again, also do not worry about making sure that they're even or anything else. The only thing I'm really aiming for is to get it kind of on the edge of the page, because I do want it to stick out. And if it comes out crooked or something along those lines, cool. Looks even more interesting that way. I love this fabric. Oh, Susan and Betty, thank you again. I use it in almost every project because there's so many different patterns. And some of the patterns I never saw in yardage. It's hard to find Tim Holtz fabric in yardage anymore. But back in the day when you could find it, some of these I never saw. I've only seen it in these strips. All right, one more little nip of glue down here. And it's not completely straight. Pretty straight, not bad. I'll just have to remember to sew on the edge because my instinct will be to sew down the middle. And that's really not going to help. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Cool. Yep, I love it. I love it. In love. Once we get it sewn down, I'll press it to get those folds a little crisper. They probably would just come, mash out. There. Once the book is closed up, but if I think about it, I'll give it a quick press. So I love that. It's a little flappy right now, but once it's sewn down, that's going to be beautiful. Excellent. An excellent start, my friends. And look how cool. Even the back side of it looks wonderful with the grungy background. Love that. All right, enough admiration. Let's see how far that's going to stick out. All right, so what I'm doing is pushing all the pages down, snugging them up into the fold so I can see where we could put something else that will stick out beyond our fabric ruffle. That glassine bag is talking to me again. It's too close. It's the next page. It gets nothing. It's not getting one. Which else? If we put something kind of wide on the dictionary, that would work. This is a fold, so I don't want to do that. That's a fold. Here we are at our beautiful coffee dyed paper again. We could do that. Oh, but that's a fold. Hey, what if we do that? Oh. No, let's leave it the way it was. And I think we'll put something on here. What should we put on there? Let's do something a little thinner since our fabric ruffle is pretty heavy. It's got a lot of visual weight to it. So why don't we do something a little thinner? Well, that's not going to work because there's... Oh, is there enough? Is there just... Oh, look at that! That was a scrap. Oh, serendipity. Can't see that. Pull it towards me. Get out our glue book. Oh, just occurred to me. Do I have the camera going? Oh, I do. Yay. That would have been frustrating, huh? Like when I made the Christmas folio and something happened, I had no sound. I just ended up junking the video because trying to do a voiceover, man, I don't know how you guys do it. People that do voiceovers all the time, I was having a hard time. So we'll do some of those same techniques that I used in this book, and I'll make sure the microphone's plugged in. How about that? We'll just do round 2. There are quite a lot of techniques and ephemera ideas and things like that that I do use pretty consistently. Either because it's super fun, or it's super easy, or it's just, I just love how it comes out. But then I like to shake it up and throw some new things in too. Don't ever want it to get boring. And there are always so many good ideas to try different things that it never needs to get boring. And I just folded that up to check it's nice and straight. Gonna clip off a little bit here. Oh. Sorry guys, hold on. I will call that person back. And so we have that one. Let's get it out. Make sure we didn't glue it to the glue book. Oh, look at it peeking out. It's going to be so cute. Look at that. Just a little bit peeks out. Loving it. There we go. There we go. And it is nice and straight. The page wasn't laying in there straight, but yep. So let's do one more and kind of a wider one. And it looks like it may end up on the ledger page again because that's going to be the one that sticks out. Probably shouldn't do it on here because then you wouldn't be able to get your photos in once I stitched those closed. This one's shorter. Yep, the ledger wins. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. What do we want to use? Do we want... Oh, I like that. What do we think? This has been a day of using the first thing I grab. I like that. I love this trim. This one also, Merchant 41, I think that is Hobby Lobby, if I'm not mistaken. I love that with the satin ribbon. Yep. That's our winner. It's funny, isn't it? Some days you agonize forever over what to use and where to put it. And then some days it's just like, shakalaka, there we go, boom, boom. Apparently it's one of those days for me. All right, so let's grab our glue book. Wow, still have an itchy nose. My mom used to say that you were going to kiss a fool. And Nom's not even here. Ha ha. Nom, just called you a fool. How do you like me now? He loves me. He never comes out of his kitchen, you guys. He loves that kitchen. Oh my goodness. He was making tacos last night because Victoria was home. And he texted me like 3 times. I love this kitchen. Oh my God, this kitchen is so cool. It was adorable. And he made delicious tacos. Bonus for me. We're making progress on the unpacking. It's taken longer than we thought, but it's okay. There's no time frame on this end. So glad to be here. Missing Sako a little bit, but having my daughter here this week has been really, or weekend, I guess, was really nice. And she's coming back on Friday with a friend. So hurrah. Trying to get the satin ribbon right on the edge of the ledger. I just eyeballed it. Perfect. And I made it straight. Yo! When does that happen? Give it a little trim down here. And again, these little pieces of lace that I'm trimming off are going right into my bit bucket. We can do something fun with them later. So let's stack these up. Oh, we have an escapee. Somebody's getting out of line. What the heck? Line them back up. Oh, yeah. Look at that, you guys. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. And these just peek out. Just peek out. And I like how there's a heavier one and then a smaller one and a heavier one in the back. I love everything about this. Indeed I do. So, we have both signatures with all their delicious trim on. Yep, I like to do that. So I will take them over when we're done. I'll take them and just stitch along the edge, and I'll probably use a zigzag. That's generally what I use. With trim, I don't do much of a decorative stitch because it kind of takes away from the trim. And some of these papers are older and a little more fragile, and the decorative stitches make way more holes in the paper, obviously, and so it may sort of compromise the paper is what I'm trying to say. Could I say sort of anymore? Probably not. All right, so I would like to do a fabric flip because I usually do. One in each signature, maybe? Or just one? Again, see, I'm flipping through again. Sorry, guys. I will call you right back, I promise. Oh, that might be a pretty place, right? Where it's nice and blank. And you could just have something to flip up and write on, just to make it more interesting. Let's do that. I pulled out this pretty lace. And I don't know where it came from, but it's a big giant piece. And it's got roses on it. Isn't that beautiful? It's white, but I'm fine with that. Oh, look at that. Yep. It's a little stretchy on the selvage edge, but we'll just cut that. So let's just cut it. Eyeball it. My favorite. Actually, I'm going to cut off this edge. Try to get the stretch done. Yep, I need to go find my fabric shears for sure. These are Tim Holtz and they're great, but not quite as sharp or as clean as my sewing scissors. God knows I'm not going to get a straight line. Okay, close enough. Actually, I might save that because it'll be pretty on a paper clip. I love having a ton of paper clips in my journals. Okay, so what did we say? Let's pull this over here. Actually, I'll just mark it with my finger. Don't want it quite as wide as the page. So maybe we'll start out. Oh, we got a crooked edge over there. The stuff is fighting back, man. It's a big piece and it's slippery. All right, so I'm going to straighten out right here. And kind of eyeballing it on my mat. This is going to be a beautiful flip. And how wide did I want it? Maybe there. I'm going to bring the page over and... Oh, that's not straight at all, Brooke. Shame on you. But that's all right. We're going to cover up the top with something. The netting is sticking to everything. Okay. Well, that's just not very straight at all. Nope. Hey, who cut this? Who cut this fabric, man? I do like it on there, though. So, let's try this. This must be excruciating. If I knew where my rotary cutter was, I'd use that instead. And let's fold it this way and see if we can get a little bit of a straighter edge. You guys see? Oh, yeah. Move this. See, now I've got that page out of order. I never go back where it belongs. Here we go. Cottons are a lot easier to work with, but obviously you don't get that sheer look, and I really wanted that. Try it again, shall we? Let's see how much I embarrassed myself this time. I live for that. Oh, nice. There'll be a little bit hanging off, but we can trim that when we're done. And let's see, we're all cattywampus on the top, but I don't mind because I think... Should we do another fabric ruffle, or should we use lace? Decisions. I have these pretty white daisies. They won't cover up. Oh, they'll pretty much cover it up. Oh, I like that, but I think it needs a strip of fabric under it, don't you think? Like I can hear you. Okay, that crooked is making me insane. We're taking it off, people. I don't mind crooked, but that's bad even for me. Even for me. Let's see if I can get it even remotely straight. If every time the scissors stick, the fabric's moving, not helping in my quest for a slightly straighter edge. Okay. There we go. Okay, I feel better. Yep, and we'll still have a little bit to trim off the side, but that is fine. Ooh, that's so pretty. So pretty. All right, let me look in my little drawer, rolling over to my little trim drawer and see what we have. Again, everything's in kind of an uproar. How about some vintage fabric? Oh, hold please. Oh, this might be pretty. We use this in a different journal recently. Maybe we'll use that. Because it looks like it might be just the right size. This is some very old lace. Oh, and I love the white and the cream. Yep. That is simple, beautiful. It totally works for me. I do want a third element, and I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I know what the words third and element mean. I'm just not sure what item I want. Looking around. I'm going to make you wait again. Let's see. What about a flower? I have a lot of fabric flowers. What if we take a look at that? Yes, indeed. Wow, I've made a mess. Oh, I have these ones that are sort of moose printy. That would be fun. Ooh. These were kind of crumpled up, but look how cute those are. We could ink them, and then after I sew, we could put a little bling. Do we want both? That guy's a little funkified, but I think... Oh, yeah. Look at that, how neutral it is. Yep. Then I can put a pearl or something in the middle after we sew it. Yep, yep, yep. Let's ink her. Let's ink her up. Loving it. And it is a thin paper, and it looks like it was crumpled. But once I sew everything down, I can just take a little bit of art glitter glue and tack down any petals that are being naughty. And then we'll find something pretty and blingy to put in the center. Yep, I love it. Well, it's fun to play with fabric. And I do, generally I will pick a topic, you know, and do all the fabric and trim or most of it at one time, and then do pockets or, you know, what have you in a second run. And I'm not very good at making ephemera in advance. I want to be, but I'm not. I just, I don't know why. I kind of have to see what journal I'm making before I know what I want to put in it. Oh, you guys, look how pretty. And that's going to center beautifully. Little off center, but not bad. So I'm just giving it a little tack up at the top to hold it. And then I'll take it over to the sewing machine. And this one might get a decorative stitch. See if we got a right and a wrong. Oh, we definitely do. So we'll put that there. Actually, maybe we want it up over the top. Oh-ho! Aren't we risky? All right. And after I get it sewn, I'll just trim right off the edge. Just making sure we have enough. Oh, I love it. When you guys are making journals, do you sometimes not want to sell them? Do you just want to keep them all? The struggle is real. I love that. The one on that side? Yeah, I think I do. So we'll give that some glue. Yep, I like the newsprint with it. And that'll stick off the side a little bit too, which will be good because I like to have it look like it was going off the page. And that'll get caught in the stitching as well. I don't think I'll put a center in it yet because how like me to catch it with the sewing machine needle. Love it, love it, love it. I like its simplicity and its neutralness, osity. Okay, so let's put this page back where it goes in the signature. And we'll do one more fabric flip or fabric something in the back signature. Second signature. Pull that rascal over. And I did pull this out. This I've had for a while, and I think it was Joann's, and I love it. It's kind of a burlap almost, or not a burlap, a canvas with the printing on it. So I'm almost, even though it's, you know, it runs this way, I don't really mind. Put it this way to make a fabric pocket. Or we could put it that, no. Let's put it as a fabric pocket somewhere. So, again, flipping through again. You sick of it yet? Let's start at the back. As I said, I feel like a lot of times my back pages get neglected. Don't think I want to do it on the dictionary. Ooh, this is so pretty. Ooh, what if we do it right there? Yes, thank you. I think. I love it there. And yeah, I totally don't mind that it's running sideways. And I like it with the dictionary page, the black and the tan. Yes, I love it. I love it. It's where it's going. It's a new home. This one. Am I going to mind if it's sewn? Actually, you know what I think I'll do? Is I'll stitch around it and then glue it down because I don't want the stitches on this side. So I'm just going to clip this in to remind me. Where are my paper clips? Oh, right here. All right, so I'll use a bulldog clip to make it stick out. and that will remind me that there's something there that I need to sew. Ooh, they're all tangled up. I hate that. All right. So what do you think, you guys? We are getting there with this journal. I do not, when I make journals for myself or to sell, I generally do not decorate them heavily. I just don't. I'll include things with it. I'll tuck things into pockets, but I leave it for you. You know, whoever ends up with this journal, this is your journal to put your mark on. So we are definitely making progress on this. And I think I will leave you there, and we'll come back and do some more embellishing on it very soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, ding my little bell down there, and that way you'll know whenever I come on live or put up a recording. And also, please go check out my Etsy shop. The links are all down below, and we'd love to have you at the Facebook group. All right, you guys, love you. Big hugs. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.